Dear students, welcome to the course on Statistical Methods for Psychological Research Part 2. In this lesson, we are going to discuss about statistically significant difference versus practically important difference. What we are going to learn in this lesson, let us look what the learning objectives. After listening to this module, students will get a conceptual understanding of statistical and distributional thinking, the meaning of significance, mathematical and statistical variables, practical and statistical significance. To learn about the definition, meaning, calculations, determination, etc. of statistical significance through examples. As a third learning objective, we will be given exposure to real-time learning as illustrations will be used for explaining the overviews, testing, formula learning, etc. of practical significance. Let us start. We begin with the first part of the lesson, in which we will learn the classical view, merits, limitations of mathematical significance. As a part of this mathematical significance, we need to understand the concept called statistical thinking. What do you mean by statistical thinking? It involves a careful design of study to collect a meaningful data to answer a focused research question, to have the detailed analysis of pattern in the data and drawing conclusions that go beyond the observed data. Coming to distributional thinking as a next step of statistical thinking is that when data are collected to address a particular question, an important first step is to think meaningful way to organize and examine the data. So, the fundamental principle of statistics is that the data is varying. What it means? The pattern of that variation is crucial to capture and understand the data. It may, however, point to additional questions that need to be examined in more detail. Coming to the significance of the meaning, what it says? Significance means the quality of impacting. Being significant itself say that it's meaningful and important. It also refers to the meaning of something more special. A certain date might have significance because it is being a birthday or a marriage anniversary of an individual. For example, a finding that describes how individuals function in various settings would have psychological significance. Significant figures in mathematical sense, what you can understand the concept called significance. If a number has zeros to the right of a decimal point, these zeros are significant if one or more non-zeros. If you observe the zeros after decimal point, they are not significant. However, the numbers have digits after decimal point is significant, and the after number the zeros are also significant. Now, example, write down the significant figures. This figure says the following: 367, 0.0075, 56.004, 98.70 and 230.00. What they are saying? In this number there are three significant numbers. In this number we have two significant figures because after point first two zeros cannot be considered. Consider 56.004. Among these all five are significant numbers. 98.70 four significant figures, and finally 230.00 we have five significant figures. So, this way we have to understand the significant number. Now, what do you mean by mathematical variable? Any characteristic, number or a quantity that can be measured or counted is referred to as a mathematical variable. So, a variable may also be called as data item. Age, sex, business income and expenses, country of birth, capital expenditure, class grades, eye color, vehicle type, etc. may be considered as examples of variables. It is called a variable because the value may vary between data units in a population and may change over time. Importance of studying mathematical variables, if you consider what it means. Understanding the role of variables and constants is essential for developing mathematical reasoning and its understanding. It is required to manipulate algebraic expressions and enable students to express mathematical relations in different ways and know more about them. Statistical variables are the other nature of the variables to mathematical variable. A variable having discrete values that differs through random causes and when arranged on ordered form a statistical distribution or array. The importance of variables is that they help in operationalization of concepts for data collection. For example, if you want to do an experimental based on the psychological trait, the contentment of life, one option would be to measure the severity using a Likert scale to grade severity of satisfaction. Coming to the types of statistical variables, there are basically two categories. One is numeric, another is categorical. Numeric variables have values that describe a measurable quantity as a number. These quantitative variables are further described as either continuous or discrete. Coming to the second category, categorical variables have values that describe a quality or a characteristic of a data unit. These fall into mutually exclusive and exhaustive categories further described as ordinal or nominal. While understanding the types of statistical variables, you need to understand the nature of the data. The data has to be basically of two categories, numeric and non-numeric. Mostly non-numeric is referred as categorical. So, among the categorical, there are two categories, namely nominal scaled variables and ordinal scaled variables. Nominal scaled variables, as the name itself indicates, the examples like the variables like gender, which speaks two categories, age, male and female, and male may be denoted with number 1 and female may be denoted with number 2. So, nominal scale mostly deals with the numbers which are nominated or assigned values. Coming to the ordinal scale, in which the variables will be also similar to nominal, but the nominal variables are not to be in order in the nominal scale, whereas the nominal variables with the order in ordinal scale. For instance, the service rate satisfaction of an organization being rated with star, say 3 star, 4 star, 5 star, etc. Here 3 star less than 4 star, 4 star less than 5 star, etc. We cannot categorize or we cannot understand this nominal scale phenomena as any other ordinal scale phenomena, because there is a difference between nominal scale and ordinal scale. So, in ordinal scale, nominal scale is purely independent. In ordinal scale, there is a dependence, otherwise orderly nominated values. So, in ordinal scale and nominal scale, we cannot make use of usual mathematical operations. Coming to the numeric variables, there are two categories again, discrete and continuous. Among the continuous, we have two categories, say interval scale and ratio scale. Most of the times this analysis, statistical analysis with the variables, we consider continuous scaled variables which are named as interval scale and ratio scale. So, coming to all this one, nominal scale, wherever you are making mostly statistical methods, categorical data analysis is suitable for nominal and ordinal. These analysis which also we categorized with exploratory data analysis. When you are dealing with statistical variables, you must have an idea about the classification and the difference between these four categories of variables. these 4 categories again you can classify that. Nominal means categories which are exclusive and non-complementary or non-overlapping groups. Ordinal, these are groups which are orderly nominated values. And interval scale, these scales are in between two limits. Ratio scale, it is also in between two limits. Mostly interval scale and ratio scale can be operated with usual arithmetic operations, whereas nominal scale and ordinal scale cannot be operated with usual arithmetic scale. So, analysis part and dealing part of the statistical variables with nominal scale and ordinal scale is different with interval scale and ratio scale. Practical significance is the next important concept what we are going to discuss now. The extent to which a study result has meaningful application in real world settings. An experimental result may lack statistical significance or show a small effect size yet potential be important. For example, consider a study showing that the consuming baby aspirin helps prevent heart attacks. Even if the effect is small, the finding may be practically significant if it saves lives over time. It also called substantive significance. Dear students, let us summarize part 1. As a part of this, we have discussed about statistical thinking, distributional thinking, mathematical significance, significant numbers, and practically significance at a glance. Dear students, I hope you understand all the concepts thoroughly what we discussed. We will continue in the next video. Thank you.